welcome to 49ers in 5, your daily update on everything happening with the team that you need to know. I'm Rob Stats Guerrero. Today is Thursday, January 4th, 2024. Here's what's happening with your San Francisco 49ers. We'll get to Brandon Aiyuk being the biggest Pro Bowl snub in the world in a minute, but we begin, as we always do, with the injury report, which hits a little different going into a meaningless Week 18 game. The following players did not participate in practice: Eric Armstead, Christian McCaffrey, Ross Dwelly, John Feliciano has a back that's new, although Kyle said it's not serious, Ambry Thomas, Elijah Mitchell, who is sick, Tashawn Gibson, who has a quad injury. Again, Kyle said not serious, should have a 7 to 10 day recovery there, and Jair Brown, who's recovering from a sprained knee. Juwan Jennings and Jalen Moore were both limited, working their way back from the concussion protocol. Now, let's get to the Brandon Aiyuk stuff. The Pro Bowl rosters came out yesterday. The 49ers have a league-high 9 Pro Bowlers on the squad. That is their most since 2013. Let's get to the guys that made it. Brock Purdy, Trent Williams, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, Fred Warner, Mooney Ward, Nick Bosa, and Javon Hargrave. Where the hell is Brandon Aiyuk? Well, he's an alternate, yippee. I personally think he got snubbed. Every guy ahead of Brandon Aiyuk in the yardage this season, and by the way, there's only 5, every guy ahead of Brandon Aiyuk has at least 29 more catches and at least 53 more targets. Aiyuk leads the NFL in yards per catch at 18.3, and Brandon Aiyuk has 28 plays of 20 or more yards. That's tied for second in the NFL, and again, he has way less catches and way less targets than anybody else. Pound for pound, nobody has been more productive than Brandon Aiyuk at the wide receiver spot this year. And oh, by the way, before you say it's all yak yardage, guess what? It's not. He's 35th in yak yardage. 72% of Brandon Aiyuk's catches have come on air yards. That is incredible. He is crushing it this year. He was absolutely snubbed. I know Puka Nacua is having a good year, but if it were me, I would take Puka out and put Brandon Aiyuk in. Now, to the audio portion of the show, Kyle Shanahan's press conference was yesterday. Of course, right off the bat, he answered the question that everybody wanted to know.
Plan on playing Brock Purdy against the Rams?
No, Brock's the only guy for sure. No, I don't plan on playing.
What went into that decision?
One, you only can you can rest 7 guys if nobody's hurt. If you get 2 practice squad guys up, we have at least 6 guys injured right now, so I only know for sure we can rest 1 and someone with our starting quarterback.
Kyle said Brock was going to get half the reps in practice yesterday. Then today's practice, Sam Darnold will take all the reps. He's kind of treating it as if Brock Purdy were to get injured on the first snap of the game, and then Sam Darnold would have to come in. God help us all if that happens. Throughout the press conference, Kyle continued to explain the method to his madness when it comes to resting and playing people in Week 18. Here's more of Kyle's thoughts.
Guy's mind's got to be right this week. 2 bye weeks isn't good for anybody, and that's why this isn't one. And I know all these questions, those are things you first think of. I do, because I didn't expect to know this Sunday night coming back on the plane. But once you do sit and the reality hits and you think about it, you look at how a 53-man roster works with 48 guys and only allowed 2 practice squad flexes, you realize, 1, it's impossible, but 2, it's also not the best thing for the team.
It's mathematically impossible to rest everybody between the number of injured players the Niners currently have, plus the fact that you can only call up 2 guys from the practice squad. There are only so many people that you can sit. We know Brock's not going to play. We know Christian McCaffrey's not going to play. It'll be interesting to see who else will make that list. We always give you one thing to read, one thing to watch, and one thing you might have missed. One thing to read on today's show: Kyle Posey of Niners Nation did an excellent column about how impactful Mooney Ward's play at corner has been on this defense this year. I highly recommend you go read it. If you want to check it out, click the link in the description of this episode. One thing to watch: this isn't really sports. It's sports related because the comedian Cat Williams was a guest with Shannon Sharp on his YouTube show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. I'm telling you, I haven't seen an interview this compelling in at least a decade. I literally could not stop watching it And I had to do this show, and I was delaying that because I couldn't stop watching Cat Williams. He goes in on some of the biggest names in comedy, and he holds nothing back. If you want to check it out, again, click the link in the description of this episode. One thing you may have missed, the Rams are going to be resting quite a few stars as well. No Matthew Stafford in the game, no Aaron Donald in the game, no Cooper Kupp, and no Kyron Williams. It is very much going to be like a preseason affair. That's a wrap on today's 49ers in 5. Please rate, review, and follow the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you click the little bell, you will get notified every single time we go live, which is every single weekday. Today, I will be live with Levin Black, the Human Wet Blanket, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Please join us for that. We'll take your questions, your comments. I got a couple interesting facts about the season as a whole that I'm going to drop on you. So hopefully you join us as well. Enjoy your Thursday, everybody. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. We'll talk later today.